Hello.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
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 Everybody today. Thursday. Can you believe it? Oh my gosh. I thought it
Thursday.
was Tuesday,
Starts
but
with a
it's
T.
Thursday. It is,
It's,
it gets
it's Taco
confusing.
Thursday, isn't it? I can't remember.
Taco Tuesday.
Tuesday. It's Tequila Thursday.
Doesn't go well. I mean, the whole rhythm, you gotta
I
be
know, but
something that,
it is what it is. And
yeah.
everyone's.
Anyhow,
So anyway, it's going to be 75 here today, which is like freezing compared to what we've had. So it's amazing
yeah.
this
I
time of
was
year.
Ginger at 4 this morning was like, look at Crested Butte. It's supposed to be a high of 67 today. And I'm
Yeah.
like, she goes, they must be having a very cold summer. And while we were up there, it was the mornings were sometimes in the low or high 30s, low 40s.
We call that
It would warm
crisp.
up, and yeah,
That's a
that was
crisp.
great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Today, today here in sunny Panhandle, Florida, it's starting out humid and in the high 80s. So 82 and
Plus
what we
rain.
got here? 82%, no. Yeah, plus rain. That'll be
Yeah.
nice.
That'll
84%
add some
humidity.
humidity.
Good
Yeah.
combination there. There's your weather from the morning
From
edge.
the morning edge weather.
Uh,
All right. It's going to be sunny here, nice in the heartland. So if you're in Illinois, it's coming your way, this coolness, hopefully. Um, so I'm going to start out today. I didn't know this, but my compadre's birthday was yesterday. Trent's birthday was yesterday. So he's officially 21. Yep.
Officially 21. I can drink now
Yep. Legally. Yeah. We'll have to add
legally.
that.
Yes,
Yeah.
there you go.
So
The
he's
whole
he's
the whole not having hair is just a front, a Secret Service detail.
anyway, happy birthday. I'm glad you had a good day yesterday. So he
Thank
spent it
you.
with his family and had a lot of fun. Watched his favorite movie and had a good day. So good for you.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it.
So let's get rolling, birthday boy. Um,
Right.
let's take a look at what we got going today. So mixed market. Nasdaq's up just a smidge, and the rest are down. Just a smidge. Oil's up. 10 years up. We can talk about the 10-year and the 30 years up also. Today we have a lot of economic news, retail sales, initial jobless claims, Philadelphia Fed manufacturing index is coming out, and the import export prices are coming out. A lot of earnings today. We got Abbott, Pepsi, uh, Taiwan Semi, uh, Evolent Health, Novartis, MMC, CTAS. This afternoon we got Netflix and then GE Aerospace as some of the majors that are out there. Crypto is interesting. They have been it's supposed to be crypto week in Congress, and they're messing around between the Congress and the Republican side on talking about something that's they want to make sure that we don't have a federal coin, a national coin. So they're going back and forth on that. Supposedly you're going to have a vote. They had a procedural vote and it passed it on. So they're going to continue on with their voting. So I think eventually they'll probably get that all taken care of and probably pass those three crypto bills. And if you see that, we'll probably see more of a bounce in all the crypto related stocks and Bitcoin and stuff. But right now we're just kind of waiting for that to happen. You can see with those earnings, we'll just go down. Pepsi beat estimates even as demand falls. Reiterated its full year outlook after its quarterly earnings and revenue topped estimates. There's that. Oops, sorry. There's that crypto bill, and it looks like Taiwan semi profits surged 61%, fueled by AI chip demand. So we'll have to see how that affects the chip market and Taiwan semi and the rest, and see if that can keep boosting the chip stocks up. Not much going on. We got stopped out a lot this week on the watch list, which is okay. That happens occasionally when you have some pretty big swings. So you can see all the yellows are closed out. We still have Arista Networks in. We're up about 6.88%. We talked about Cummings yesterday, and that was up about 1.06%. And these gray ones we never did get into. It just didn't hit anything that I wanted. And then Plains All American hit the support level and got out at a small 0.38%, but got out. So really only two left in the watch list, and then we're all out on the under the 200s. We had a lot of them here that we didn't get into, just didn't give us an entry price. These are all closed out. Couple of losers so far on the total list, but not too many. And again, we'll just continue to watch. It's Thursday, so I don't like to add too much at the end of the week because I don't like to hold them over the weekend. So we take our gains and then we start looking for new ones at the beginning of next or over the weekend at the beginning of next week. So we'll take a look at some of these charts. Stop that one and start this one. If you guys want us to look at any charts later on after Trent, just put them in the chat and we'll take a look for you. Here's the SPY. Again, we've come up, we've got it right along resistance again. I can get rid of that thing. Oops, cancel. And again, that's about where we're going to open up on the SPY. I'm looking a little concerned on you can see the MACD's crossed over the negative a little bit on the stochastic too. So be watching that and see if we're kind of in the consolidation or kind of burning out on that a little bit on the SPY. We'll see after the semiconductors. The Dow again, same thing, had a nice run up sideways. 9 comes up right along the resistance level. We start to see it roll over. And then, of course, you got a golden cross. Trent was just talking to me about this, where the 50s going over the 200. And a lot of times that's kind of a lagging thing because you see how that happens is you get this big old run up and that 50 moves faster, by it's 50 days compared to 200. So it moves faster on average. And we'll see what happens. But you see the Bollinger Bands are also converging here a little bit too. And then the Qs. Really what's driving anything is pretty NVIDIA have been really rocking up, and the Qs again have come up and again right along resistance here. Move this over just a little bit. We've hit resistance. You've got the 9 coming up again. We're right between resistance and and support at the 9, and again we're going to open up just about where we were closed yesterday, again above the 200. You're a Paul Tudor Jones investor, you're still doing pretty good on the Qs. Gold again right up on resistance, and look out, the Bollinger Bands are narrowing on gold, so it's just kind of coiling here trying to decide what to do, but it has to get past resistance at some meaningful level to move it up any further. Silver about the same. Silver had that pop last week with a little gap come up. Now we're just playing sideways again on silver. Got to watch the stochastic down here. It's looking a little bit down below in the negative area. Let's move this up a little bit. See it. You can see it's crossed over here. Bitcoin. Bitcoin's kind of waiting for Bitcoin week. Okay, and you can see we've just gone sideways. We do this a lot sideways. I'm going to back it out. Let's go year to date. Up, sideways, up, sideways, up, sideways, sideways, up, sideways. So it's not unusual for it to coil a little bit. Seeing a little bit on the MACD slowing down, but no, not a bad crossover. But it looks like we're gonna have a positive crossover on stochastic. Again, this level here, this is 120. This is 110, 112 down here. This is where we see it playing right now. And it's been going between about 115, 114, and 120. And we'll see if any news comes out that pops this up above this level of resistance and gets it up. And then if it could sustain above that, the next level will be 125, 130 on Bitcoin if it can sustain. But it's had a nice run this week for sure. And you see that also in MicroStrategy. MicroStrategy's come up and there's resistance here, and we've hit it 3 days in a row. We'll have to see. Again, we were outside the Bollinger Band outside. We'll see if it can sustain, but this has a better looking MACD. It's still rolling up on the MACD. And I guess yesterday, MicroStrategy had its highest market cap ever in the history of the company when it hit this level. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if it gets accepted in September into the S&P 500. We saw what happened when that happened to Coinbase. Coinbase, rocketed up when it got into the S&P 500. You see Coinbase is doing about the same thing as MicroStrategy, finding some resistance up here. But again, we got the 9, the 20, the 50 had a golden cross back here. You can see, and just has continued up. We'll see if we can get past that line of resistance, but that's always a tough line to get by. And then for those of you who do the ETF for Bitcoin, we had this big bounce off this gap up, came back within the Bollinger Band 2 days ago and continued up. Got a little bit more room to get up to resistance here, but 9 is the support level in the oscillators, except the stochastic looks like it's crossed over, and that is because of this nice dump here. And we'll see what happens. Once that legislation gets passed or not, can mean up or down for Bitcoin. And again, it's just kind of news at this moment. Stable coins is what they're talking about, and Circle, has been kind of the stable coin play when it came out. It had this huge run up. It started out at 83 and we went all the way up to 298, and yesterday it had a run up to 233 with this legislation that's going through. So CRCL is dealing with stable coins, so that'll probably see a bounce depending one way or the other, depending on what's going on in Washington. A couple other these are like treasury companies like MicroStrategy, only at a smaller scale. TeraWulf's a little company, started buying Bitcoin. You see it's had a nice run along the 200. Kind of popped yesterday, and if it can keep going, you're above the 200, stay above the 9, keep these oscillators going up. You have a little bit of room to run on Wolf. You got the Bollinger up here. Let me move this. This is where our sell orders are. See where that's at. Okay, so you got sell orders right above at 646. So if you can blow through that, just keep going. But just keep that on your mind. Let's see what the volume looks like. Yeah, volume's good on that one too. Just a small company that has Bitcoin in their treasury. And same as ABXL, but ABXL actually has come up and hit resistance. So you're going to see a squeeze up here. So it's not as good a chart as far as getting into as Wolf would probably be, depending on what happens on the news. NVIDIA has had a nice week with the Chinese announcement, and it's been rolling really well. You've got resistance and right up here, right where we're going to open up. So we'll see if we can get past resistance in any meaningful manner. Resistance is the sell order resistance level. So nice run on NVIDIA still. This is really what's fueling anything in the Qs or the S&P is NVIDIA, because it's a huge market cap. And Trent was talking to me about it before we got on, and I'll let him talk about how big the market cap is exactly on NVIDIA. It was an amazing stat, and he'll talk to you later, hopefully, about that. Meta's come up again. This is come back right down to resistance. This is where we're going to open up. It's underneath the 9. Oscillators have just gone really negative on Meta right now. So I would wait if you're going to try to trade it. Looks like until these oscillators tell us to get back in. Microsoft, again, right up on resistance. You see the green line, that's where we're going to open. But 4 or 5 days right on resistance. The 9's coming up. We'll see if it rolls over. Starting to see a flattening and convergence of the Bollinger Bands. Got the MACD is now below the signal line. So it's slowing for sure on Microsoft. Google, this has been a nice run on Google. Got above the 200. Again, we played that game with the 200, and now it looks like it finally got some momentum out of there. We're going to open up a little bit lower today, but back inside the Bollinger Bands, okay, and above the 9, which is support. But a nice move from bottom left to top right, and the oscillators look pretty good with the MACD and the stochastic down here. So again, a nice move on Google, and it's got some room to roll. It keeps rolling. Sell orders at 188.40, 193.02 is a hard level of resistance. But again, we're going to open a little bit lower. Maybe that'll give you an opportunity to get in at a lower price if you're interested in Google. Again, we are over the 200 and we're moving up. So Google's looking, from what it used to be, it's looking better than it did. Apple. Apple, again, we talked Apple the other day, and just sideways. Sideways, that's where we're going to open. We're underneath the nine. Nine's rolling over a little bit. Still above on the still above on the MACD, but you can see it's with the histogram that it looks like we're going to have a crossover in the negative side, and we've already had it on the stochastic. So Apple, again, just kind of stagnant at this point. Tesla, a lot of Tesla people. Tesla's been playing around, the 200, and this is kind of like what Google was trying to do, see if we can get, up, down, see if we can get any momentum above the 200. If we can get some momentum, we have a little bit of crossover here. Here's your investable line from Paul Tudor Jones. If you can get that to roll, that's where you start your investments. It's not quite there yet. We're having trouble getting past this 50, 3 days in a row, finding resistance at the 50. And at least now we're above the 200 at the 50. We'll see if it can continue to roll up. We're going to open right about where we closed on Tesla. And then Palantir. I think this has a little bit of wings this morning. Now Palantir, just a nice kind of slow run up along the upper Bollinger Band. We're going to open up right about there. Got some sell orders at about 154.87. The oscillators look pretty good on Palantir, but it's just a slow runner. Came back down under the 9 and then back up. You're above the 50, which is heading up and to the right. You're above the 200. You're above the 9, which is swinging up, and above the 20. Palantir. Netflix earnings this afternoon, so be aware of that. I always try to get out before earnings just in case of a dump. Sometimes it goes against me, but I'm okay with that. You can see we're right along resistance. Good earnings on Netflix could pop this up. Good earnings with bad guidance could knock it down. You just never know. But if you look down here, you're seeing, at least from a market point of view, looking backwards, it's looking like it's continuing going to go down a little bit just with the MACDs. But again, news can pop that. News is catalyst. And this afternoon, after the market close, we'll see what happens with Netflix. So some people like to buy into earnings, and some people like to sell into earnings. So it's really up to you and your individual risk tolerance. Some momentums, we've been out of them, but we talked about Roblox. Continuing above the 9, above the Bollinger Band. I don't like to buy above the Bollinger Band, but people do. You still have some nice oscillators down here. Just be aware you got some sell orders at 123.32 on Roblox. And then CPNG, I think people were brought up this week. Again, went sideways, get up. So a lot of times you get above the Bollinger, you move sideways right over to support, play the support and run it up. You're seeing that a little bit here, and we're seeing just a little bit of a crossover now on the MACD on the positive side, but be aware of the Bollinger Band and also be aware of the sell orders at 31.73 on this momentum stock. We don't have anything under 200s. We looked at ANET. We were still in ANET. ANET did one of these up to the Bollingers and over to the side, actually came down and touched. We're still in it here. We have a crossover the 20 here. So we have a lot of room to put stops down here to preserve our profit so far. And see, we did this before. We come up, we did this, come up, we did this. So that's why I didn't put any stop in, except right about here's where I did it to take a little bit of profit if it came down. I want to see if we're going to catch a little more momentum to go up. Again, we're looking at 65 on the RSI, a little bit of a roll on the stochastic, but you're still embedded, meaning they're both lines are above the 80 level. So we've been above that for a while. So there's an opportunity based on past history that we're looking at that this could go further, but always have your stop, preserve your gain. But that's why I didn't stop out on ANET right now. And the other one, PPA, this was just a slow runner. It's a pipeline. And again, came up and we got out when it popped back down. Oh, this is the wrong one. This is not it. PAA. Looks like it, but it's not. Yeah, this one, and you're starting to see a roll of the Bollinger Bands. So, slow, slow, slow. just put it right at the 9, and that's where it popped out. That's where we got that 0.38% gain off that. So it's hard on these pipelines. They don't really show much on velocity and volume as far as momentum. CMI we talked about yesterday, real quick. And CMI, we said CMI above the 200, back tested it and started rolling up. That would be a good place, to consider an entry. The oscillators look good. We had a nice pop up here. Again, you're going to have support at the 200, and the 9 is going to golden cross it. Looks like today you have a little bit of room to run up. You got 350.47 for sell orders, and 345 is where you close. So the chart looks good. I like this run here. Again, once you get in, always put your stops in. Make sure you keep your profits. I wanted to look at some of the ones that we had earnings yesterday real quick. SML had earnings. You can see 750 per share, but they came out with guidance that the street didn't like, and we went boom right down. So again, this is why I like to sell as a swing trader outside earnings because of this. But it could go the other way too, and then you're like, well, at least I got my profits, but I missed out on 10% to the upside. J&J had earnings yesterday. This is where it went the opposite. Okay. Earnings came out 229 per share. And this is when, you get out and you're like, oh, okay, well, at least I got out with a profit, but on ASML, it would have been the other way. Just my personal way of trading. Bank of America. These banks come out with headlines that look good, but then you look into where their credit and what they're paying out on delinquencies and things like that. And people are starting to look at that, and you can see what happens to the stock. So Bank of America kind of went down. And then we talk about Goldman Sachs, another bank yesterday, kind of stayed even. Morgan Stanley yesterday dropped down on earnings. Alcoa was metals, earnings down. They had 62 cents per share, dropped it right down to support and right above the 200. So kind of sideways, but again on Alcoa, they're not too impressed. And United Airlines came out. Oops, that is not it. Right now, earnings, and it's still, came down a bit. We'll see what happens this morning. Earnings were 297 a share. Again, we're above the 9, above the 200, so inside the Bollinger Band. So we'll see what happens now after earnings. If we can get some momentum, you might see this roll up a little bit on United Airlines. I don't like to really trade airlines because it's so volatile. And that's what I got, Trent. So hopefully you talk a little bit about NVIDIA and market cap, because that was really interesting to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna hit. That's my second point today.
Okay.
Let me show you. As I mentioned yesterday, we're launching the Morning Edge member stock picks for the remainder of 2025. We've got a good selection going so far. You can still get your ideas in. Just put them in the chat, and I will add them here. But so far, we've got this will update starting today. Or actually starting, yesterday. So the starting date will have been yesterday, and this unrealized gains will start to adjust as today at the market open. But we have, just to go through the list so far, we have Clean Spark, Pepsi, Critical Material Metals Corp, Oscar Health, Big Bear, AI Holdings, MP Materials, NVIDIA, CoreWeave, uh, Bonk, which is a altcoin. I will have a code to get this live update on that here, hopefully soon today. MicroStrategies, Excel Realty. I want to confirm with Arm that that was what he was talking about. If you would put it in the chat, if that is correct. Caterpillar, L3 Harris Technologies, Core Neutral or Natural Resources, and United Health Group. So the goal here is to see how these perform between now and the end of the year. We've done this with the platinum list as well. I showed you that yesterday, and its performance, it is definitely That one is very tech heavy, so you have had a real big price movements in or return movements in there as well. Let me go to this other chart. Let's hit upon NVIDIA. NVIDIA is right now, NVIDIA is this blue line here, and the Euro Stock 50, which is the largest market cap European 50 European stocks. NVIDIA is only 600 billion away from being larger than those 50 as a collective. Let's see if I can blow this up here a little bit for you. This is as of, I believe, yesterday's close. This is pretty incredible. And Mark and I were talking a little bit about how in the S&P 500, how seven stocks control basically 35% of the movement of the S&P 500. I believe it's 2 days ago, the news headline on NVIDIA came out about China or them being able to sell their H20 chips to China here soon. And just in that day, the S&P 500, 90% of the stocks in the S&P 500 were down an average of 1.7%. NVIDIA represented 50, or excuse me, 20% of the S&P 500's price movement that day. So it basically kept the S&P 500 above water. And I think this is one of those things you got to pay attention to, especially if you're an index investor or even a long-term investor. We saw that over the last 2 years. Those seven stocks over the last 2 years represented the S&P 500's 20+% each year returns. Everything else just struggled. And I think the more and more money that flows into large cap growth funds, sector ETFs like XLK, you're going to get that allocation to market cap allocation to these bigger companies. And NVIDIA is one of them. And that can be a double-edged sword. It can be great, but also can be a bad situation. One other thing I wanted to point out here, it's not coming up. Let's fix out of that. Hold on one second. I'll show you here. Where is it? Oh, charts. Here we go. Mark mentioned the Dow Jones. The 50 is crossing through the 200. That's a golden cross. The last time that happened was back here in November of 23, and that represented a 29% return in that period of time up to its peak back in January, February of this year. So when that happens, and remember, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is 30 stocks. It's an assortment. It's not all tech heavy. I know Apple's in it, but there are other industrial companies. It's a very good, it's a small group of stocks, but historically, when you see that golden cross, the 50 crossing through the 200, it represents, it's a slower moving indicator, but it represents a bullish move, and that's what we could potentially be seeing going forward in the next over the next 24 months or so. So be aware of that. We could be very well, from one of my indications I'm seeing, and we're entering more of a bullish market overall. When I look at stocks, equities, they're above or below the 200 or the 20, the 50, and the 200. We saw an upturn yesterday, which is positive overall. And so that's a good thing. That's what we want to see. Well, we want to see more stocks above the 200, but that's that Paul Tudor Jones thing. And right now, over 51% of the stocks, 51% of the stocks in the equities are above the 200. That's positive. They're 65% are over the 50 and 58% are over the 20. So these are going in the right direction numbers, and that's a big positive. One thing I wanted to point out, see if I can pull up a chart here on it. Bear with me. Was the U.S. 30-year Treasury, here, I'll pull it up, went over 5%.
Mm.
And
Wow.
what that tells us is that, yeah, it's at five, well, it's at 5% right now. So it's been hitting this resistance level going back to October of 23. And what that is telling us is that people don't want to take the risk of buying US debt going out 30 years. They don't have confidence that we can pay it back. And so if we see a move, say over 5.2% on the 30-year, that should be somewhat of a cautionary element. If you look at the US 2-year, see if I can bring it up. Let's see here. Two. What am I doing wrong, Mark?
What are you looking at? Oh,
Actually,
2 year?
huh?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Why isn't me? I think I've got it over here. Yeah, here we go. The
There.
US 2-year, this is the first chart here, is trading at 3.91%. So if I'm, and then the 10-year is trading at 4.45%. So if we see sort of longer dated maturity yields on bonds, the yields going up, and we see the 2 years and less going down in yield, it shows you, it tells you that people who are buying these bonds are saying, I don't have confidence that the U.S. government can pay back those bonds, once they mature 30 years out. So I'm losing confidence. But if we see the 2-year continue to fall, they have confidence that they can pay it back. So we're in this confidence game again, which can fuel the crypto movement, the Bitcoin movement, and confidence in this move of where is the confidence going on a global scale. And in relation, if you compare the two US bond markets and Bitcoin, just looking at the charts, you would say there's more confidence in Bitcoin versus US government being able to pay their debt back. And so that could be a big change. And I've thought a lot about this is, are we in that midst of massive change on a global scale when it comes to currency? And or is this just a short-term blip? I mean, if the US government starts to reduce its debt through its tariffs and some of the actions they're taking, will we see more confidence in the US? Or are we just now at a point in history where things change, a new chapter in currency, a new chapter in confidence starts to happen? And I'm honestly, I think this could be that moment where we take the confidence level out of the hands of human beings, governments that are run by human beings, and put it into an asset that's limited, that is unmanipulated, and is based on what the market dictates that price to be, the whole supply demand element. And I'm wondering if that is where we are in history. If we'll look back 20 years from now and go, that was the turning point of how the global economic system has changed. So I don't know. It's just a deep thought I had yesterday.
I think you're right, though. I mean, if you look at Bitcoin to the US dollar, as the US dollar goes down, Bitcoin goes up. And then you look at the two money supply, and as that goes up, you usually see Bitcoin follow that up 3 months delayed, and that's what we're seeing on the charts. And that just goes back to confidence in, what is the currency, and how much more can we borrow, and get into debt, and then continue to print and devalue our dollars. And again, how much you're already seeing China and other countries kind of dumping the treasury, the US dollar, and putting it into gold. And you're seeing some countries putting it into Bitcoin. Same with some banks and things too, in sovereign funds.
That was the other chart I wanted to show you guys was let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Here we go. I'll blow this up for you. But this is Chinese gold ETF demand surged in H1 to the highest on record. So you're seeing the Chinese chasing gold, if this is their retailer investor, institutional investor, but you're seeing this major surgence from Q1 to Q2 in Chinese buying gold. And that could be one of those signs of this pendulum swing, swing change. I thought that was interesting. That was provided by our people at Bank of America.
Bank of America. So yeah, I think there is with BRICS out there, and there is at least discussion about the US dollar and as a reserve currency, and what are the alternatives. And again, if you put $100,000 in the US dollar and in a treasury making 3 or 4% with monetary inflation and continuing devaluing of the money based on what the money supply going up, you're actually losing money. Okay, so over a period of 10 years, what's your $100,000 really worth? So people are looking, well, should I put it in gold? Should I put? Equities again. S&P is what average 12% a year, so that's better than money. And then you've looked at Bitcoin over the last 15 years, and it's averaging just under 60% ARR a year. With only 3 years being down. And so I think I think since we've got legislation going through and more regulation, it's allowing more institutions to hold it now. Banks are allowed to hold it and custody it for their customers. They weren't allowed to do that a year ago. We have ETFs now, just over a year and a half old, some of the biggest ETFs ever holding Bitcoin or Ethereum. And so you're seeing, this little $2-3 trillion asset class starting to grow. And where is it coming out of? It's coming out of the huge bond asset class, and maybe the equities a little bit, and potentially the real estate market. So if the real estate market goes down and people start selling out, where does that money go? Well, they're going to look for more store of value. And I think a lot of that is the acceptance of cryptography, and Bitcoin especially. And that's just my view on it. And I've studied it for a long time. And that's my belief also. And we talked about, what about physical metals? I don't really do physical metals other than, some of the silver coins I inherited from my uncles and parents and things that they saved. But that's my view on it. I think we're not only are we in an AI change, from how information is now given to us and how we can solve our own problems and our own questions with just going to the computer, to tie it back with how we are going to move digitally financially. And I think it's going to be through the blockchain. I think it's going to be through stable coins. I think it's going to be with Bitcoin. And I think it's all going to merge at some point. And I don't know when, but we're moving quickly, I think. And I watched that video. Trent was telling me about Grok 4, and I watched the video of Elon introducing it with his engineers, and it was pretty amazing. So I'm like, holy crap, and you've used Grok 4, Trent, and you say it's amazing.
What's interesting is, and I experienced this last night and today, and I created this prompt to gather information on the tell sheet to give me some information, to rank the different holdings in the Kerry's tell sheet. And I used the same prompt, and I used it in ChatGPT and then Grok. And I had to go back to ChatGPT 3 times and say, correct the pricing dates. You're pricing based on a year ago, not what the current price is. Oh, sorry. Whereas Grok, boom, right out of the gate, nailed it. It takes longer, it thinks longer, but I had to go back and remind ChatGPT, and I think that's where this competition between these two, and I'll continue to sort of compare them because I'm trying to build really the ultimate AI prompt to better analyze positions. Um, and it's just interesting how in some cases you have to finagle, and I pay for both. So I pay for the tier just below like what Kerry's at. I'm not willing to part with $200-300 right now for each platform, but I see this competition happening, and I think that competition accelerates things faster, and I think that's what we're seeing in the AI world. You're seeing it at Goldman Sachs. What Devin is their new AI engineer and is threatening 12,000 employees at Goldman Sachs. So I think this is one of those we may be, we're at that pivot point in history where we see a major change in directions of things.
Yeah, I think I got to do some charts. We have some requests. I'll
Yeah.
get to those. But this is I looked into it a little because you got me thinking about it, and I watched it. Is the hit against Grok was it does take longer, but people like the answers. They don't have to keep prompting like Chat. And the reason that is, from what my understanding is, Grok sets out like several agents all over the blogosphere and brings it all back, and
Right.
then it discusses itself and then writes up the answer and sends it back to you. Whereas
Yeah.
Chat GTP is like one agent that comes right back. It just goes out and
Yeah.
does that. So it was
Well, with
pretty amazing how it does it.
well, it was interesting this morning. I did the prompt, and in Grok, I waited 3 to 5 minutes.
Hmm.
ChatGPT, I waited less than 10 seconds.
Right.
And I started looking at the data. I was like, I want to compare because I want to provide truth. And I was like, that's wrong. That price is wrong. That doesn't make sense. I said, your answer, please update to, July 16th, the date. And yeah, I had to go back twice and do it. And that
Yeah.
made me go, are we at this inflection point where maybe, as Kerry said, maybe it's because there is so much demand on their systems they can't supply it. And I did experience that yesterday with Grok. It timed out. It said, please come back later. And I think the system is getting hit so hard right now.
Yeah.
So capacity then becomes the question.
It's yeah, and then you talk about data centers again. We get back into that whole discussion, and
Yeah.
um, but anyway, it's interesting to me. I don't have much time to look into it, but you did tweak my interest in that, and it's amazing what's coming. And I'm like, if you don't understand it and you don't at least look into it, same with like crypto and Bitcoin, potentially you're going to be left behind in this, and you don't want to be doing that, in my opinion,
This
you know.
this is the argument I have with my daughter. She is studying fibers with a focus on surface design. And her professors are arguing that when you create something in AI platform, image wise, you don't own it. They own it. And so if you make millions on it, they can come back at you. So ownership becomes a question. And she's like, go the traditional way, use Photoshop, use Illustrator, that kind of thing. And I look at it, and I totally understand her point of view. I understand her professor's point of view. But it's also one of those things that's like, well, if it's going to rain, it's going to rain and you're not going to change it. So you best get a raincoat on, or you're just going to get soaking wet. And I
Yep.
think that's sort of the world we live in. It is a reality of how, I think everybody on this channel should explore how do you build an AI agent. It isn't as complicated as you would think, but it's something that I think everybody will eventually be able to do with ease. But if you can get ahead of it, you can make a big move in your wealth. I think there's a big window uh, open for that opportunity.
And
It's just embracing it.
I'm proud of ourselves as a couple old guys even thinking about this stuff. You know,
Yeah, I
normally
know.
we should be sitting on our porch going, "Oh, those whippersnappers, they don't know what the hell they're doing." Back in my day, but anyway,
That's why
we
I
got a few.
carry a,
We got,
a roll
yep,
of coins
yeah, that's right,
just in case I need to make a phone call, you
that's
know?
right, that's right. Few charts here. We'll get back as people do like to look at open. Somebody brought up open. It's in Open Door Technologies, and that had a nice run. You know, up past the 200, and we're getting up close to resistance. I don't know what happened here, but the chart's really good. Other than we got some gaps, and also we have we're outside the upper Bollinger Band and had a nice run. I don't know if it can keep blowing through. It's at 154. Down here we had a big old volume increase, 303 million, whereas 142, 180. So something happened to gap that up. I don't like to chase them after that. If you're lucky enough to have gotten in, say, oh, I'm going to get in above the 50 and then ran it up, that would have been a nice run up. But had I been in this, let's say I got in back here and this happened, I would probably take some to all of it off the table from me and the way my risk is. You do have a little warning up here. It's probably, oh, I didn't meet the NASDAQ listing requirements, probably because it was under $1 for a while. The other thing, CABA, someone wanted to look at CABA. Came up, you kind of hitting resistance on CABA. Okay, you're right here is resistance. Your comeback, the 9 has provided good support, but we got to get past that resistance level a little. Starting to see a little bit of a roll on the stochastic. Again, we got the 9 coming up on this resistance level. Can you pop up here? Yeah, but you're going to get caught here at the sell orders at 93. But it looks like it's kind of rolling a little bit. You do have a crossover golden of the 20 over the 50 right here. But again, it's kind of sideways. Doesn't mean it can't go up. It's finding support at the 9, but we're starting to lose a little bit on the stochastic. But we still have RSI at 60. So this could be one of those plays where it goes and comes back up a little bit. But we'll have to watch it. But Kava, BNOM. And thank you guys for providing these are interesting. I know people watch us. Viper Energy. Um, Viper's come down and it's hit support. Now, just like we have resistance up here and it plays along this line on resistance, same thing happens down here. See 1, 2, 3, 4 times we've hit this support level, kind of like we've seen in United Health, going sideways. Eventually, this 9 is going to come down, and we'll see if it can get price action above it and roll it back up. But if I was looking at this chart, I would wait a little bit. We've got, the oscillators aren't where we want them to be, but I'd watch it because again, it's going right along this support level. And at some point, you might get some momentum coming back in and you'll start to see it roll up. And then you get back in and you ride it up, to the whatever level of resistance you want to go to or watch the charts. But right now, I'm kind of going to wait and see on a swing trade on this one. TEM. TEM. I don't know what this is, but got some pretty good volume down here. These are charts I kind of like. Okay, so we come down, we get underneath, we follow the Bollinger Band sideways, sideways, sideways. Here's where your support level is, but it is sideways. You got 200 here, so we parallel that, and here's where we see that 9 come down, come down, come down, and then it's finally bouncing above it. I don't see confirmation. I like to watch for the MACD to cross over. We had a little bit of one on the stochastic and you're under the 50, but showing a little improvement on momentum because of this candle. Your upside is to the 20. Okay, we closed at 59.97. You'll find a little resistance at the 20, which is at 60.93. Then you've got resistance at the 50. So you can roll this back up. Sell orders at 63.75, and again we closed it at about 60. So yeah, we've seen a little more momentum here. I like to see these. I like to see more of a confirmation on this MACD to see if we can run it up. Ethereum, ETH, USD. Ethereum's had a nice run. To say the least. It's just following up with Bitcoin. And again, got above the 200 for a long time. It couldn't get above the 200. And you just go back year to date. And you see we've been under the 200 since about February. Came up, couldn't get above it. Now we're seeing, with altcoin or stable coins and Bitcoin and crypto coming into play, we're starting to see Ethereum roll up. Where are we today? Oh, 34. 3,400.
Yeah.
Wow. That's pretty
It's made
amazing.
a move in the last three
Yeah,
days.
Trent, you know more about Ethereum than I do, but that's a nice move.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, you look, it's that whole accumulation phase, and now it's breaking out. Yeah, I think
so
it's
you got to
just a
watch
lot
it.
of
You know,
momentum there.
we see this a lot. You know, you get outside that Bollinger Band, then all of a sudden you sideways, and sometimes that sideways comes down. But in a lot of cases, you know, we come over and we kind of test where support is, and then it rockets again, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not going to trade all the time, only 5% outside of this line. So you may see more consolidation kind of that way and up, but the oscillators still look good, and that's you know that's a nice breakout of Ethereum, and you're seeing that on a lot of crypto. 88. Let's just see what 88 Cardano's doing. USD. Cardano, look at that. This where are we at now? It's at 80 cents. And just a while back it was at 57. So it actually got up above the 200. It's been fighting the 200 and for the first time closed above it. And we'll see if it retests. But again, we're seeing a lot of the crypto doing exactly this. And here it started, you know, and you can watch it. And so even the little coins are going up
Yeah.
with crypto.
Supposedly, and if Eric's on, he probably knows a lot about more about this, but it's altcoin season. I
Hmm.
saw sort of that headline where altcoins come back into favor, and you're seeing a lot of action there.
Yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, it's interesting, you know, but they go down as quickly, you know, they can,
Oh yeah. They
especially these
evaporate.
altcoins, especially these altcoins.
Yes.
They don't have as institutional buying like a Bitcoin would have.
Right.
Some quantums, QBTS. And let's go out a year to date. And let me pull this in a little bit. Right along resistance up here on QBT. There we go. You see, we've come up before, hit, down, come up, hit. So we're going to need to get past that to really excel. But it's you know it's come back up above the 9. We're starting to see the Bollinger Bands expand a little bit. But here's that resistance. We're going to have to get through that and then the sell orders. So again, I'm looking for some kind of catalyst to make it move, you know, past at least the sell order line here. But you know, keep it on your list. It's you know it's above the 200 and it's following the 50. So those are two good trends. But again, we got to get past resistance on QBTS, RGTI. There's a nice little bump yesterday. I don't know what happened on that, but it got above the 9, went right up to sell orders, and closed above it. So it kind of blew through there. And again, your resistance is at $20. We closed at 16.56. See if it continued today, you know, up. We're outside of the Bollinger Band. That was a nice move. You're above the 20. You're above the 50. You're above the 20. Now you're above the 9. And your oscillators are looking good. So again, that was a nice little bump. Let's go back year to date and see what we're looking at. Oh, it looks like, at least on this chart, all-time high. Go back 2 years. Nope. Go back 2 years. We hit all-time highs right up here where resistance is right around 20. So that's why we have that resistance level there. So again, if you get up there, uh, we'll see if it retests, you know, or it can get past. But big level of resistance right there. And let's look at BTQQF. Let's see if I can get this one. BTQQF. ETTQ Technologies. Oh, this rode up. This must be something to do with crypto also. It kind of rode it up and then came back down underneath the 9. So it was a nice run. You know, this was actually a really nice swing right here. Cut out, get back in, up, get out. Just following my trading guidelines, I can just look at it, the chart, and tell you, and here you got a negative crossover on the oscillators here. So it had a nice run up. Let's see what the volume looks like. 1.1, 2.1. Yeah, nice volume on there. Yeah, this must be another Bitcoin fund. Again, you're gonna. It seems like to me, Trent, a lot of seems like that's where money's flowing right now. You know, whether you like it or not, it seems like that's where we're headed.
We've definitely seen that over the years where um, money becomes available, and if it goes into the highest beta company, assets, and crypto is one of those in the last 5, 10 years now. So I know we've covered it a couple of times, at least
Yeah,
once before. So
we've started,
yeah,
we started, we started over a year ago, really talking more about it.
yeah,
I got some more
yeah.
here. Let me write them down.
Okay.
MR,
I'm gonna hit upon Julie, I think it's Pat actually, was asking about three companies. I'm gonna hit upon those real quick.
okay.
All right. From a long-term perspective, this is Trade Desk TTD. When I look at this, I went back a year. It's trading above the intermediate trend. For me, that's the line in the sand. That's the big part. It's above the trade trend line, but it's below the 200. And when I go out a year, I look at what it's up against. And it's up against this resistance level that was established back here at the 200 back in August of 24. But it also gapped down after earnings. Looked like it missed, gapped down pretty substantially. And now we're back to this point where it tried yesterday, or excuse me, tried on Tuesday to break above, but opened right at where it gapped down, opened on February 12th or February 13th, and then closed lower. Today, it looks like it's going to open up a little bit higher at 81.85. So the challenge is, one, will this gap get filled? And if so, that means it's going to break above the 200, which would be a big positive. And presently, what it looks like is the RSI is at 69.55, but it is trending down. So keep that in mind. We may be in a accumulation phase here, put some money into the company, allocate, and then get a push higher. Where is earnings? Okay, so earnings comes out August 7th, and that could be the catalyst for it to go higher or go lower. Um, the second one was CPNG. This is Copain. I think that's how you pronounce it. When
Oh
I
yeah, we
look at
looked at this. We
this,
looked at this earlier. Yeah,
oh, we did. Okay.
that
So
was a
it's
swing trade, but
trending.
go ahead.
Yeah. So it's trending up the trade trend line, which I like, above the intermediate trend and above the 200. Um, let's see if we can find some level of resistance going back in time. Um,
There's one.
right there. This is back in 21, November of 21. You saw a break below. This became resistance and then has trended lower. So it's at in my opinion, a resistance level. If we can see a break above, oh, I don't know, say, um, 32, $33, we could see this move up into the 37, $40 range, 40, yeah, $40 range, and then it could make higher. So it'll come out with earnings on the 6th of August. So that'll be a decision maker as well. And then I think you may have gone over this already, Mark. CoreWeave. This is a
Nope,
brand
didn't
new
do that one.
company. Hmm.
Didn't do that one. That's all yours.
Yeah. It came out, well, it became public back in March, end of March. Made a big move, got a lot of volume here. We see that big volume, and then we get to the top, and volume is declining. And we now trade below the trade trend line, which has now become a bit of a resistance level. And we'll see where that goes today and throughout the week. But it got as low, and you think about it, here's a level of resistance that became a breakout back on June 3rd, and then made its move to its highs, and now looks like it came back down here on July 11th and tested this, what was tested this resistance and now looks like possibly support. Wouldn't be surprised if it comes down and tests it again to make sure it is real support and then a possible move higher. So I'd just be cautious here and just keep an eye on it at this point. But this RSI relative strength below the 50, that's a no-go in my opinion. From there, address or other oscillators like MACD or slow stochastic. But watch, this support level. Is this going to become the new support level at 125? And then will that be a jumping off point to go higher in the near future? So those are the three that Ms. Chambers was asking about on a
Okay,
long-term basis.
I'm gonna do, if you guys, the market's open, so I'll stick around and do these 7 stocks because you guys deserve that. Here's ATYR. And it's had a nice run. I've never heard of it. It's a pharma company. And I just look at this chart right away and I'm like, man, I wish I would have seen this one. This one has come down and it's bounced off the 200. Okay, went a little below, came back. 200 is a really good level. So I'm watching this and going, right here was the swing trade for this stock, according to my trading plan. You're above the oscillators all turned there. You've had the momentum going up. You pop in right here when you get this candle above the 50 and the 9, and you ride it, and it just rode. And for me, if this line was on at this time, which is resistance, and it popped up there, that's when I would have got out. But this would have been a great one. It started at 344, and you get out at 598. But even if you stuck with the trading plan and you didn't want to get out at that point, you still come over here and then you get out at this point, which would have been 520, where it comes back down below the 9. You can see, and then you save all this and then you can pop back in up here. But unfortunately, we're running right into a resistance again. We opened up right on the upper Bollinger Band. I like that it's spreading, but we're going to have to get past this level here. We're starting to see a little roll on the stochastic. So again, this would have been a great one here. You had a nice little run up here, but again, we're going to hit this resistance. Something has to get us past that for a swing trade. This one was brought up a couple days ago. This SBAT. Again, it's had a nice run. It's hit the 200. We talked about this rolling. Be careful. This is usually a pretty hard line of resistance. This is a sell orders at 45.36. You've been outside the Bollinger Band 1, 2, 3, 4. Normally, you don't go more than 5. So I would expect this to pull back into the side. You're going to have resistance at 45.36 with sell orders. And then again, we're going to see some resistance at 49.52. So you have a little bit more to run up. I don't like buying on the outside of the Bollinger Band. Some people with a higher risk tolerance can. I just don't. But I would rather have bought back in this area than I would at this area. That's just my preference, but it's really up to your individual trading plan. BNMR. And I appreciate everyone sticking around and watching. Maybe I got that one wrong. BNMR. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I got that one wrong. SERV. Serve Robotics. Okay, let's take a look at Serve Robotics. I'm going to go out 6 months. Okay, we had a big bump up here. Look at this gap down here. We dropped below the 200. It just really took a nice dump down, stayed below the 200, finally got above the 200, and now we're testing the 200 again. Let me pull in a little closer. Now we looked at the history. So bounce off 200. Here we are. Nice candle yesterday. Today we're above the upper Bollinger Band and above resistance. Let me check the volume down here. Volume's good. We've got some sell orders above here, 13, 14. So, again, we're above the Bollinger Band. I don't like buying there, but a lot of people do. What I do like is all these moving averages have converged right here, and they're all crossing above the 200. So you're showing momentum on the 50, the 20, and the 9 heading up. So maybe this momentum can get you up past this line, but you see we've hit it before back here where the sell orders are. But if it has good momentum, it started out with pretty good momentum, but now it's coming back down. 13, 14 would be where you're going to find resistance, and again, you might come back inside the Bollinger Band, but again, we're past resistance on serve. So follow your trading plan and your risk management plan. TSLL has got some ones I've never heard of before. Oh, this is a bull 2 times share daily Tesla. Okay, so this is a leveraged 2 times. If Tesla goes up a dollar, this will probably go up $2 and vice versa down the other way. That's just a simple way of putting it. So as Tesla goes up, this will continue to go up. These are products that you need to do due diligence on. They can they're made for intraday, meaning trading daily instead of like a long term. Some people do it long term, but you got to really keep an eye on it because it can take off on you either way. Right now, the trend's up. You're above the 20, you're above the 9, but you will have hard resistance up here about 1269. So again, these are made for daily trades. Make sure you know what you're doing. Go read the prospectus and all the warnings so you understand the risk on those. LAC, this American, this one really popped up. Let's look at the volume first. I always look at volume, make sure we have enough volume. Yep, got volume. Had a nice run up, hit the 200. It actually blew past the 200, came back. And today, again, we're up. Now we're hitting resistance at the sell orders, which is about 325. And we'll see if it can get past that or not, or if it comes back in. You're outside the Bollinger Band. I don't like to chase these. Those with a better heart than I have might want to try it, and run it. But look how it gapped up right at open. And now you're seeing it kind of getting beat back right to where the sell orders are. So just be careful, but there's a nice rubber run on that one. ABAT, we're almost there, guys. Another one that's come right up to resistance. I'm going to go back on this one. Let's go back and check the history, see why we have resistance. Okay. So American Battery Technology Company. This guy's had, forever. We're just rolling sideways. And then something happened here, popped it way up. Okay. Chase. So anyone who bought up here is underwater. Okay. If you bought at this level, to this line right here, which is resistance, which you can see where we've hit before, tried to come back up down below the 200. We've come back up. Nice little run there. Let's get a little closer. Would have been a pretty good swing trade right here. As we see, we've done this before. We've come down, bounced off the 200, retested, came up, got above the 50, the 20, the 9. That would have been a nice area to probably hop in there, ride this thing up, get out about there. And now it rode back up, and now we're hitting resistance again. Look how right at the open, these stocks, race up. All these orders that, market orders and things, they have to, people trying to get in, retailers trying to get in, and ride this up. And then they get in, and then they get the rug pulled from them. And we'll see if it lasts. But again, we saw this on the last 2 charts. But watch out for resistance and sell orders right above it. And QITB. Here we go. Maybe that's wrong. Yeah, I got that symbol wrong, so I'm not sure what that is. So, and I'm gonna go back and take a look, but I don't know. ABAT. This NBSM, BNMR, that I couldn't get. ABAT, got ABAT. T-Pay, okay. I think we got them all, Trent. Oh, hold on. We got 7. Oh, QUBT. All right, let's go back and take a look at that. I want to be thorough here. QUBT. Aha, success. Quantum computing. Quantum has been sideways here. We've just basically since back here where we hit initial resistance in June. I can just draw this line. You can see the trend that we're in, and it's sideways. And let me just thicken this up so you can see just how sideways it is. So again, resistance line here, Bollinger Bands are together. MACD is down, oscillators are down. Something needs to pop this up, and it hasn't happened yet. You're above the 200, above the 50, but just sideways, it's coiling. Can something make this go up? News can make it go up. Or again, I'm looking at this 9, hit the hit the resistance as it's heading down. That's usually not a good sign on the short term unless something makes it move up. But again, right along resistance on this one. And with that, I'm now complete.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
thank you all. That's a good one.
Whew.
And
We worked overtime today.
we did.
Market is already open.
What's that? Yeah,
No,
thanks, guys.
it's
Yeah,
You
I
better
want to
go
get
take a shot of tequila.
yeah,
that's right.
That's
Yeah.
Trent's desired drink. I
One
I stick
that's a
with
couple
beer.
that stairs down just downstairs. So I'll wait. I won't do that this morning. That would be then a problem. Uh
Guys, really, really good. I'm glad you guys added all these charts. We like doing charts. We like talking about the market. We like bringing in news like Trent was, how big really is NVIDIA compared to the rest of the market.
Yeah.
And long term, short term, and your questions are always valuable. If we can't answer them, we won't. We'll tell you we can't. Trent will go off to Grok 4 and figure it out, and we'll come back with it.
Right.
Yep.
Sounds good. All right.
Yep.
Thank you all. We'll be back tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday. Wow. That's
Yay,
crazy.
yay.
Mhm.
We'll review the morning edge stock picks in the morning and see how we did today. And we'll go from there. Y'all
Yep.
have a great day.
Enjoy
Thank
your
you again for
birthday,
your
Trent.
support. What's that?
Thanks a lot.
Enjoy your birthday.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right.
Oh.
Thank you. Y'all take care.
So
All
whose
right, see you
birthday is
guys.
today? Whose
Bye.
birthday is today? Trent?
It was
Yesterday.
yesterday, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yesterday.
I-
Okay.
Yeah, I just didn't
Yeah.
tell anybody.
Happy birthday. Anyway, today is my son's birthday, so yeah.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
cool.
Tell him happy birthday.
Right on.
Sure,
Sweet.
sure, yeah. Will do.
Happy birthday to you,
birthday
my
there.
friend Trent.
There you go.
Thank you, sir. All right. Y'all live loud. Take
All
care.
right.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.